Hi, I'm John Liebman. You're watching ForBassPlayersOnly.com. Don't go anywhere. I've got an amazing interview coming up with a true bass legend, a true rock and roll legend, John Lodge from the Moody Blues, talking about the past, the present, and the future. Don't go anywhere. That's coming up right now. Hi, John. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
It's been a while since we've spoken. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing really good, thank you.
Well, good. Well, first off, I want to say congratulations on the new release. I know it's going out a little bit later than originally scheduled, but it's just so great to see you still active and still putting out great music.
Thank you very much.
I want to ask you about the title, The Royal Affair and After. What exactly does that mean? I could guess, but I'd like to hear it from you.
Well, I was in 2019. I was invited to be on the Yes Tour, the United States, with Carl Palmer and the wonderful world of Arthur Brown, and we had a fantastic tour. And the title of the tour was The Royal Affair. And my part of that was like 20 minutes, whatever. And when we were in Las Vegas, I recorded my show, not for any reason, but it was indoor arena. The sound was fabulous. And so we recorded it. And then after that, I went on the road on my own tour, and which was basically called Keeping the Moody Blues Music Alive, and which I performed songs for my mates in the Moodies, Mike Pinder, Justin Hayward, Ray Thomas, and I got Graham Edge to record his poetry for me. And one of the concerts, I recorded that for no other reason, just to record it. And then when COVID came last year, I started listening to all the tapes, and I thought, we can't go on the road and record, perform. The audience can't come and see us. Let's release it as an album. So I went back in his studio with my guys and remixed everything and put the album together. And I thought I wanted to be on 180-gram vinyl. So I contacted I believe the best vinyl makers who are in Germany for us in England. And we got some test pressings, and eventually I settled with the test pressing that the album is now. And it's fantastic, really, really pleased. And so it was great because I thought, put the artwork together, all the information like an old album. So song titles, who's played on it, photographs, everything. And I'm really pleased with the outcome of the album.
Well, you should be. Like I said, I've been listening to it and loving it very much. I like how you pay tribute to your Moody Blues bandmates. And I want to get this out early so we don't end on a downer, but you mentioned Graham. We lost him recently, and I want to ask you how you'd like him to be remembered. What would you like people to know about Graham?
So many aspects of Graham, which I shall remember with fondness. Too many. And, I met Graham first when I was 16. He was in a band called Jerry Levine and the Avengers. And he had a gig on a Saturday afternoon. No one has a gig on a Saturday afternoon. And Ray Thomas and I were very jealous of him. But I loved his drumming then, And it was strange that like 5 years later, we're in a band together called the Moody Blues. And there's this guy I used to watch. And we became really good friends. And his mum and dad became good friends with my mum and dad as well. And it was really a big family thing. But Graham was a Trekkie. He was a Star Trek man. He loved it. I think he could recite every episode without dropping a word. And it was incredibly well read. He and I used to discuss books a lot and philosophy. But he also had an incredible sense of humor. And he always had a twinkle in his eye, which was really good for a drummer. But as a musician, for me, him and I were the engine room of the Moody Blues. And when you've got a bass player and a drummer who can work together, that's it, you made it. To be honest, from a bass player point of view, you don't need anyone else. Because the bass and the drums have to be the song. They have to be the song. You just put the candy floss on the top, but the song has to be driven, It's like a locomotive. The engine's going to get you from A to B. The restaurant car is just a candy floss.
I love it. You mentioned Yes. John Davison seems to fit right in with the band very nicely. You really seem to enjoy working with him, playing with him.
Yeah, well, I was doing the few years ago. I was doing the Cruise to the Edge with Yes, and on the cruise, obviously I know Steve Howe and Jeff Downes, but I got to meet John, and I asked him if he'd join me on stage for the encore on Ride My Seesaw, and Yes reciprocated the offer, and they asked me to join them for Imagine for their encore. So a relationship got going musically, but also John and my daughter Emily, who manages me, they're now an item. They've been together 3 years, and we do a lot together. We've written a few songs together, John and I, and we recorded. I released in these crazy times last year a single with John doing backing vocals on with me, and another song called "The Sun Will Shine." And John did backing vocals with me on that, and it really works. He's a fantastic singer and a great musician. And
you let your daughter date a musician?
Oh no, I thought about that. But I suppose my wife did. We've been together ever since, so it can't be all bad.
Ride My Seesaw. I was thinking, I don't think James Taylor has ever given a concert without singing Fire and Rain. I've never seen Stanley Clarke perform without playing School Days. I saw a statistic, 54 years? You've never played a show without playing Ride My Seesaw? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, you did. When we actually, I think it's 52 years, because when we first started...
Big deal, 52 years. Too.
Well, when we first started, we wouldn't do an encore. We got to the end of the show, but I think Ride My Seesaw was part of the show, right? We wouldn't do an encore. And eventually the promoter said, unless you go back, there's going to be riots. So Ride My Seesaw became the encore for the Moody Blues, and it's the only encore song we've ever done. And as far as I remember, anyway. And so I do that with my concert because it sums up me. It's very really, and I think it sums up the audience where we came from. Not just the 60s, but 70s, 80s, 90s. because we're all living in this seesaw world. We really are. And it looks like we're going to be going down the same seesaw world again very shortly. So it's relevant for me.
Are you still playing that bass that you bought in 1959, the first bass that was a Fender?
Yeah, I'm still. I record with that all the
What do
while.
I see over your shoulder hanging on the wall? Is that what it is? Is that what I'm?
No, that one there. My original bass became so precious. I'm really scared. You know, it was dropped a few times by road people. Sometimes it left behind as a gig. You know, and as it's played on every Moody Blues record ever, I think, except one, I think. I spoke to Fender, and they said, if you leave us your bass for a few months, we'll make one exactly the same with all this bird marks on, scratch marks on, everything. And they did. And it really almost plays like my original one.
Let's talk about playing bass and learning bass, because in addition to our 800 plus interviews at ForBassPlayersOnly.com, we're really a bass instruction site, and we get people from all over the world coming to ForBassPlayersOnly.com to learn how to play bass. And most of the people I attract are men, a fair bit of women, but mostly men in their 50s, 60s, 70s. They're not trying to be rock stars. They may have dabbled in it over the years. They just want to have some fun with their buddies, playing some blues shuffles and some classic rock riffs and maybe some walking bass lines. So in that context, what advice do you have for somebody who wants to learn how to play bass? What do you think is important?
The best thing I did, what turned me on to bass was the left-hand side of a piano by people like Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, all the blues players, that left-hand boogie piano. And I read up about it for years, where that developed. And it's strange, people have come up with various ideas. And one of them was when the guys used to go on the trains going down to Texas to be lumberjacks, right? They always had a pianist on the trains. I'm talking in not in the passage train, in the truck with 50 guys in there. And the pianist was not allowed ever to stop playing. And so he would eat and drink with his right hand. This is what I read, and he kept playing with the left hand. So all this boogie piano and stride piano came, but it developed as well. You know, that's what I've read over the years. Anyway, that fascinated me. So when I got my first guitar, because in England there was no bass guitars at the time, in the 50s, no bass guitars. I used to learn all the boogie parts on the 4 strings on my guitar. And for any bass player, learn the guitar boogie. Just learn guitar boogie. Because if you learn guitar boogie, you've got all the feel, rhythm, and you know what all the notes are, which you can use in each key straight away. You can use those ad infinitum. You really can. And that's what I realized. You know, if you learn doom, 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 and then put the 7th in, doom, 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 you've suddenly gone, oh, I'm into blues now. I'm into the 7th note. So I developed my bass playing from that. And once I understand what that is, I then decided to find what makes a minor note. And, you know, flatten the third, dead simpler. Dun, dun, dun. And you into another, either minor song or a blues song, you know. And that's what I think, that's what one thing I would say to people. If you want to be a bass player, don't bother about all the other things. You can learn all the roots. If you want to start, just play the roots of the chord. That's simple. But when you go off if the song is in G, and you going off to the next chord in the what would be a 12 bar, the C, you know, and you can find another note within the C. Don't play the C, play something else which is in that guitar boogie thing. And you come up with interesting ideas. It's all about experimenting. But you can, if you know the basics, you can experiment. It's if you understand the basics, you know.
What else is keeping you busy, John? Are you still moonlighting as a sommelier? You have a wine company, don't you? Is it Crisema? Is that right?
Yeah, we just got. It's gone on the, you know, because of the last 2 years, the pandemic and that. Most of everything has gone on the slow burner, really. But yeah, it was. I've always been into wine, not but just for the drinking. Where vineyards are, there's the most beautiful countryside you can ever meet, really. And I remember going to California in the late 60s, going up to Napa, and it's like, wow, this is beautiful country. And when I travelled around the world, South Africa's got the same, Australia's got the same, France has got the same, Spain has got, and it's like people should go visit these places because they're natural, really natural places to enjoy and really peaceful. And so it's been, I've traveled around and I've got 3 wines, one from Napa, one from Bordeaux, and one from South Africa, all called Crisma. And but logistically, it's very difficult to sell them because state laws, country laws, and all that. But yeah, it's been a fun time.
What about the future, John? Anything else coming up that you can talk about?
Yeah, I've got you know, with the new album, I'm going to be touring the US starting in March. I'm going 3 or 4 weeks down the eastern seaboard, and then I'm going to do the Flower Power cruise with the Hollies and the Zombies and a whole host of revived Canned Heat, and right. So I'm looking forward to that, and that should be fun.
I hope you come through Detroit. I have a geography quiz for you. What is the name of that famous expressway that goes right through the city of Detroit? It's called what?
John C. Lodge.
John C. Lodge. And you are not just John Lodge. You are John C. Lodge.
C. Lodge.
Well, I did a little Googling. John Christian Lodge was born in 1862. He lived until 1950. He was a Detroit councilman and mayor.
Wow, amazing. Well, I wanted to check that up because I know my family wanted to come to the USA a few generations ago. So whether that was one of the generations told one of the other children, "You've got to come over here." I don't know.
You mentioned Detroit. You said your cellist was from Detroit, but I saw another name. Was it Duffy?
Duffy King's my guitarist. Is from Detroit as well.
I almost fell off my chair when I read that. I worked with him like 100 years ago.
Ah,
Great guy, always upbeat, always happy, always in a good mood, as I recall.
fantastic guitarist. Just listen to the guitar playing on my album. Duffy's great. And he loves another guy. He loves the music, you know. And we're just doing something now, and he's just sent me the new files that we've been working on with me. The guitar playing is super. I've released a song called "The Sun Will Shine" just a couple of months ago, and Duffy's got a wonderful slide guitar on there. Really beautiful slide guitar playing. And Detroit's very, you know, I'm from Birmingham, which was called Second Motor City after Detroit, because we made all the cars in England. And of course, Jamie Jameson, what can I say?
I don't remember if I asked you this last time or not, John. I don't think I did. But what would you be if you were not a bass player? Something outside of music.
I really don't know. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not an hypothetical person. I'd never live in that hypothetical world. As soon as I got that first guitar, that was it. I knew what I wanted to do. Nothing else mattered, you know. Well, it did, you know, life mattered. But from what I wanted to do in my life, that was it. And when I got my first bass, I lived with that. I have two things. Our bass will travel. And secondly, my bass is my best friend ever.
Beautiful. Well, it's so great catching up with you again, and congratulations on the record, and good luck with the touring. And
thank you, John.
I hope you come through Detroit. And we.
Oh, well, I'd love to. I'd love to.
And the release date of the record has been scheduled for January 14th. That's my birthday, so that'll be a nice.
Oh, fantastic! Hope somebody gets you one for your birthday.
That'd be a great gift. Well, thanks very much. Good luck to you, and all good things. Keep making great music, and we will keep enjoying it.
Thank you, John. All the best to you. Stay safe in this crazy world.
You as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.